Chemistry is pretty useless.
Chemistry?
Do you want to expand?
No, I just hate chemistry, I can't lie.
I don't really need to learn science.
I think there were a lot of general courses that I just was like, why are we taking this? Like, I need to learn geography about some random place in the world, which is super cool if you're interested, but if you're not, then it's like, yeah.
The most useless thing I've learned throughout my whole school life is probably learning a bunch of different subjects, especially because now we're in economics, so learning geography, that's not really gonna help us.
I had this one class where we used to learn about the history of movies, I'd say that probably I think it's called Politics of Film, something like that. I think it was a pretty useless class. We just watched a bunch of movies, then did analysis on it, and I don't see how the movies helped my life in any way possible.
Linear algebra. That's been, I don't know, I haven't been able to find the real world career application for me.
That math stuff, grade 7, y equals mx plus b, I'm sure it's useful in if your profession, if you do numbers and stuff, but it's one of the most useless things I've ever learned. I've never had to use it since grade 7. I think it was a waste of my time.
Well, most useless thing I've learned throughout my education is how to draw graphs. Haven't used it outside of a school setting, for real.
Probably any random math. I kind of wanted to learn how to do taxes or how to buy a home, and I didn't feel like that was actually taught to me. So any just basic life skills, I felt that was really ignored in high school, so I wish that was taught.
A lot of the maths, there's some stuff that I don't think I will ever use in my life in some of the maths.
Can you think of anything in particular?
I mean, even I'm in architecture, I don't think I'll ever use the Pythagorean theorem ever. I don't think I'll ever use any of that stuff ever.
I would say picking courses based on what you think would be easy, because I find the easiest courses are courses that you would actually be interested in. So try and stick to your interest rather than looking at the syllabus being oh, this looks like a light course, because sometimes it's not a light course and then you kind of get stuck.
For me right now, when I did IB, I learned a lot how to write essays and structure giant paragraphs. Right now in architecture, we don't do essays at all.
Oh, maybe writing an essay or something. I don't know. I feel obviously it's important for classes, but I don't know. Yeah.
We took such a specialized thing in media arts, and I didn't realize how much you have to really branch out. You have to take general electives, sciences, humanities, and so even though I don't really want to get into writing, I can write a good essay. So I mean, it's not completely useless, but a little bit.
I gotta go with grading curves, just pitting kids against each other. And
I mean, I want to say group projects, but that's not true. But that's not true. They have their use. They're just frustrating. The most useless thing I ever encountered in education was in elementary school. A teacher of mine called home and asked if I spoke a language other than English at home, and my dad was advised to stop speaking to me in Italian because my spelling was bad.
I wish that teachers taught us how to finance ourselves properly and actually real world stuff. I feel not a lot of my teachers in high school and now, I guess, but especially in high school, taught me how to actually live in the real world.
And how to properly time manage and time block. No one actually taught us how to do that. We just had to figure it out on our own. But how to properly not procrastinate and do those things.
how to do a job interview would have been nice when I was 15. Yeah, more real world scenarios.
I think that the stuff that we learn in studio is very different also from the work that we're actually doing in firms, because we're all in architecture. So the most useless thing I have ever seen in my years of school has probably been a lot of the school supplies where they're like, oh, you need this, you need that. No, you don't. You don't need that textbook that you're going to use one chapter from. Buy the electronic copy, or don't buy it all. You'll be fine.
Actually, all the materials and stuff that they give us, sewing machines, it's actually useless because they don't take care of it. I'll tell you that right now. It's very old. You basically have to buy all new stuff if you want to succeed. So don't rely on the school material.
I don't know about useless, but the most I'm going to be a bit critical is the
way that history is taught in Canada is really useless because it doesn't offer any kind of criticisms towards the state at all. It just kind of is a propaganda machine. So I think like history can really be adapted better in this country for sure.
Well, not useless, but I did AP US history back when I went to school in the States. And I mean, I'm here in Canada now.
They would just kind of give you just kind of monotonous work, say it was math or science, but they wouldn't like teach you anything. They just kind of sat you down and said, just look at the textbook, and if you understand, you understand. Because the public education system changed a lot as I was growing up, where they introduced a lot of new things, and a lot of teachers didn't really follow the curriculum. They just kind of went off on their own, and there was a line where people got lost in between.
Can't really think of a single useless thing in school. I feel like even if you're going one certain way, it's good to have like another perspective. Like let's say you're an art student and you had to take gym for your first year. It was somewhat beneficial because then you could see like you can understand the other side.
I think what they taught us about university is very useless.
Yes, I actually agree heavily on that. It is. Sorry, go ahead.
They made professors out to be these like tyrants of the classroom, where they would be dictators of your education. And I thought, oh, you take this test, you get a 0, you fail. Like that's how very much university was sold to us. Was like this like big pressure, and there's almost no pressure in university. There is for grades, but nobody's coming after you saying like, oh, you're doing bad or you're doing good. Mm-hmm. You have to self-assess yourself.
The most useless thing I'd say that I've learned in school has to be from any of the liberal courses that I've taken. And it's not to say that those liberal courses aren't useful in the particular area that you're going in. But I feel like in the contemporary society, you want to specialize in the field that you want to go in. And I feel like these liberal courses that I'm taking and that I've taken, and I think my peers can say the same thing, when they say that they don't teach you as much as they should. Right? Application, I find to be the most important thing in the course. If you're able to sit down with a group of people or by yourself and get stuff done, right, is far, far better than sitting in a 3-hour lecture, right, making notes for an exam that's coming up that you'll likely forget about.
A philosophy course, which really wasn't a philosophy course. It was like learning about what different philosophies are, right? Not even thinking about things or finding ways to apply those like ideologies. And it was just a course that you had to do to fulfill a requirement. But even then, I think it inspired me to learn more about philosophy, which was very good, because then I learned a lot about Buddhism, which I really enjoyed learning about.
I think you don't have to go to every single lecture. You can work it towards like how you're feeling that day. If you really don't want to go to class, it's not going to be an absolute waste of your career. You can catch up, just like make sure your mental health is good.
I also agree we have a lot of those mandatory classes that will barely have people in it by the end because they're all just teaching stuff off a slide that we'll find online.
That you get from school, I think you learn something from everything, even that even the fact that class can sometimes be useless. We've learned from that is that like, okay, I should prioritize myself today. I'm not going to go to class.
That's tough because like you really retain everything, and no matter how tedious or boring something is, it does pay off. So like, I don't know, it's kind of subjective. Like some people like math, for example, but like I don't. So like, I don't know, I could consider math useless, but somebody likes math, you know what I mean? So it's kind of subjective, I think.
One thing though, like I do want to talk about is how school kind of sets you up to like focus on grades and like work and like, you know, like do exams and tests and no open book, no resources, but real world isn't like that. Like you learn on the job. I've done a lot of jobs that have nothing to do with architecture, and just how I've learned is by doing it, by watching people and studying under them.
I feel like it's obviously like it's important to like know like the material, know the theory, know the content, but at the same time, like you can have the best grades ever, but if you can't like communicate with people within the workplace or anything like that, like you're not gonna make it far. Yeah, like networking is really important because like it's like hard to get a job unless you know somebody. If you don't know anybody, like you're gonna have a rough time.
The only reason why I had a job was because like I had a connection, and like it's been the same for like previous jobs. Like I can only get jobs if I have a connection.
So I think one of the most useless things I've learned
is really the idea of conforming to certain standards and not necessarily giving yourself the freedom to explore the creativity, the idea of just really putting yourself out there